Welcome back to the No Ball Knowledge Podcast. For today, we're going to be talking about Tottenham Hotspur. Yeah, this is the team that has avoided relegation not once but twice in back-to-back years, and what an absolute crazy season for them. I mean, like it really looked like they were going to go down. This is a team that not too long ago was in the Champions League final. Absolutely insane. And I think one of the biggest issues with Tottenham was that there was a clear project under Pochettino. It reached very new heights, right? And the second that they weren't able to kick on because it gets to the point where, you know, when you hit a certain level for you to improve, you need to start adding world class talent. And if you can't, it's only a matter of time before you go backwards. Since then, there was no real project that really allowed them to kick on. And it seems like now with De Zerbi coming in, who of course was able to save them from relegation, a manager that has had a tremendous amount of success in this league, has been highly coveted from some of the big teams for a long time now. They went ahead and they got the likes of Sandro Tonali, Mateus Fernandes, Van Hecke, Sanesi, Premier League proven players that improve the spine. De Zerbi is known for playing good football. He's known for being able to revitalize certain players. Some of the toxic ones in that dressing room are finally out the door, like Romero. This could be the start of something new over at Tottenham, or at least be a step in the right direction. And so just kind of want to get your thoughts. You know, is this the right step for them? And when you finish 17th 2 years in a row, what is a realistic ambition for, Tottenham this year?
I think it's definitely the right step. But if you would have asked me this last season before the season started, I would have said the same thing that they were signing players that was on the right step. Um, I think Spurs right now, um, it's sort of that team that it's in between because it's such a big question mark. I honestly wouldn't be surprised if this team finished top four, and I also wouldn't be surprised if they fighting for relegation at the end of the season. That is them. That I mean, you look at the signings, it's like okay, big names, guys that are proven in the Premier League. De Zerbi, we know like what he did over at Brighton, but like I don't know, it's Spurs. I know it sounds like my analysis is not it's not very deep, but yeah, I mean, one would think that they're going in the right step. Last season, if I'm not mistaken, on the sign Thomas Frank, if I'm not mistaken, like that was their coach. So another guy that was Premier League proven, which I thought I said, okay, you're not going to win the league, but just the fact that this guy knows the league and he's fought against all these teams, you're going to get the results that you should get, right? And you're going to be like in a good like in a pretty decent position. Next thing you know, they should have gone down. So now it's one of those things like okay, like you signed a lot of players, big money, but it's Spurs. So it's like yeah, maybe like 15 games in, you're like in the top four, or maybe you're literally in the relegation. So in that sense, how we like for me is like if I had to sum it up, I would just say it's like a huge question mark. I don't know how you feel, but like maybe like you like better like the chance of actually I'm making the top four. I'm fighting for those European spots. But for me, I honestly cannot jump that hurdle. If you ask me, I say I give them the same odds of making top four than I do of them literally fighting for like a relegation battle.
Potentially, but nah, I think one of the biggest problems for Tottenham last season was their defense, and I do think that adding the likes of Van Hecke, Senesi, and Tonali will help shield a lot of those things up. They've also had a terrible injury crisis, man. Like Kulusevski's been injured, Madison's been injured. Uh, they've had a lot of big players injured, and it's been a problem for them for a long time. And I think it is a step for them in the right direction. Now, listen, can you go from 17th to top four? I don't think so. I don't think so. I think the main objective for them this season should be to try to, kind of be within the top half of the Premier League, top six, top seven, just take a step in the right direction. They're going to be playing one game a week too, so that is something to consider that they should, definitely help out. And again, like there's a lot of questions being asked for a lot of teams, right? Like how's Maresca going to do at City? How's Verona going to do at Liverpool? How's Xabi Alonso going to be doing at Chelsea? Right? Even Michael Carrick now, he's going to have to be playing one game every 3 days over at Man United. What's going to go on over there? So it's not like the Premier League landscape as a whole has teams that are established. You know exactly where you're going to get. You're playing one game a week. You have more time to instill your ideas. You've made more moves in the market than some other people, but then again, you finished 17th last year, a lot of points and a lot of games to make up. But I think they should be excited. I think they do have a lot to look forward to, and I think that there is an opportunity for them to at least kind of put themselves back in a place in a table where it's much more familiar and much more comfortable and much more reflective of where they need to be. And I think Tottenham fans as a whole are kind of expecting that. And I think anything short of that after the way they experienced last season, I think would be just very, very, detrimental. But I think also as a whole, the club has kind of learned that this constant chopping and changing that we've been doing, Mourinho, Antonio Conte, Postecoglou, Thomas Frank, it needs to stop now. We need to back somebody. And De Zerbi was backed. 100 million for Tonali, 90 million for Mateos Fernandez, another 50 million for Van Hecke. This guy's been backed. And so, they're putting all their eggs in one basket and saying, lead us to the promised land. And maybe this is exactly what they need, right? Time to figure things out. And that's something they have not been offering a lot of their managers in the past. So it seems that they're going to be learning from their mistakes.
Yeah, from a neutral standpoint, I think is actually it's fun because like the best thing, like obviously like when you're a fan of the team, it sucks. But from a neutral standpoint, it's amazing because these guys could pretty much be playing. I don't know. I make it up. I'm Liverpool, right? And you're excited because you don't know where you're going to get. So like maybe they've been Liverpool, right? And you're like, oh my god, like the signings, like the Zerbi, or like everything's working out. Or maybe they're playing, I don't know, Crystal Palace or Coventry City or whatever it's called. I think that just got like promoted,
And they lose
and
4
and,
0.
and they lose. So it's like this is. I mean, in that sense, I completely agree with you. Like from a neutral standpoint, this is actually the team, like them and Liverpool, the two teams that I'm more excited to watch. I mean, like Liverpool because I actually have high hopes for them and I like their players. But this guys is like, I mean, let's be honest, Harvey. Do you think, let's say, that somehow they're fighting in the middle of the table, that they're 10th, right? Do you think that they sack Deserving, or do you think that they say, okay, let's let them keep like working on this project? I mean, even though 10th it sounds a little rough, but let's just say it happens. I mean,
I don't know because how many stupid decisions are made in world football nowadays, Yali? Arteta inherited a team that finished eighth, and the best that he could do the following season was I think eighth again, and then I think he finished fifth if I'm not mistaken, and then from there he went and challenged for the league. Like you can't expect to go from 17th, right? Expect that. By the way, Coventry City, I think I could be wrong, but I think they actually broke the record for most points in a championship season. By the way, so it's not like they're coming in here and is a yo-yo team. Like, be careful with them because these guys dog walk the championship. For you to think they're going to be able to jump 9 places in the Premier League, or not even that, more to jump 17th, 12th, to be able to jump 13 places in the Premier League and find yourselves in a top 4 position. I'm sorry, like you're going to need a couple more than just 2-3 signings. Premier League teams are good. They're very, very, very good. So I think it's just a matter of like, are you playing good football? Is there a clear identity? And can we see as a fan base and as a club, can we see where we look at the 11 and we say, if we upgrade this position and this position, we're going to be clearly a much better team. Like this is clearly where the problem is. But they found themselves in a position last season where it's just like everybody looked like dog shit. Everything was poor. They couldn't create, they couldn't score, they couldn't pass. They would concede a goal within 30 seconds of a game. They would score and they would concede right away again. It was like nothing was working. And I think as long as you can just get a couple of things in this particular squad clicking, where you can very clearly look at it and understand, okay, this is what needs surgery and this is where we need to improve on come next summer, we go again. I think that's a step in the right direction for them. But like you said, I wouldn't be surprised if the manager, who's more concerned about getting Beyonce in the stadium than actually trying to take the club to the next level, does something stupid like get rid of him again. Like I wouldn't be surprised by that either. But I think after basically giving this guy $250 million for the signings in a single summer, when all he did was save you from relegation, you would think you would try to back him for at least at least 2-3 years to try to get his ideas across. No, you would think.
yeah, yeah, for sure. I mean, but that's the thing. It is Spurs, so so we give other managers money too. But yeah, I agree. I think it's going to be tough for them. I just think those European spots. I don't think top four is actually like like realistic. But I think if they could get into, I feel like if they get into like the Europa League, Conference League, they will be happy. I'm just worried in the fact that if maybe like they finish 10th or 9th, they might get a little trigger happy and just let them go and bring in Gastos Gutierrez and waste money again. So but yeah, like we'll see. They're very excited in that sense, and the fact that every game that you go into is like they have the players, they have the managers. They might upset a big team, or yeah, maybe they're down 3-0 to some team that just got promoted. That's the
But you
thing.
know what, man? Like credit to them because they went from being in a relegation fight to getting Tonali, which a lot of big clubs wanted, getting Mateo Fernandez, which a lot of big clubs wanted, and getting Van Hecke, which a lot of big clubs wanted. So clearly they're doing something right in terms of the way that they're selling the project. And so, I don't think you attract not one, not two, but three big players of that names that perhaps had a lot of other options on the table, or at least, communication from agents or whatever that they were interested. You had to sell them on something. So we're going to see very shortly if they're being sold a pipe dream or whether or not they're actually being sold a serious project. Time will tell, and of course, we'll be here to cover it. Keep an eye out for our next video. I think we have Man United still to do, so we're going to cover them shortly and catch you on the next one. Bye bye.